Welcome to episode 5 of the Made in Chattanooga podcast. We are your hosts this week. I'm Jess. I'm the senior art director down here in the Chattanooga office.
And I'm Maurice, and I'm an account exec. Yep.
First up today, we are going to chat with our very own creative director, Chris Logsdon. He is the co-founder, I should say, of the Godspeed Company, which is an apparel company that focuses on American-made products. So that's what we're kind of going to be going in on today. So welcome, Christopher.
What's up, guys? Good to be here.
How's it going? Long time
Outside
no
of the
see.
office setting, it's so wonderful to see your faces.
Oh, yes. You look different here.
The light.
Something
I think it's
about
the
you.
angle.
Is it the light?
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that.
We're meaning to change out the light fixtures in the office. Just,
Yeah,
maybe
this
it brings out the tones.
So much that costs before we go and do
portrait
that.
lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
What's
tell-
up, everybody?
Yeah. So you are a man of many talents and many hats, and you also wear lots of hats.
I do.
You
One
do?
big hat.
Oh, my man lid.
You're
Are you trademarking that?
I don't know.
No,
It's
okay.
probably already. I would hope it's already trademarked. It is simply just a hat that I feel like a lot of dudes back in the 50s and 60s wore in New York City. That's what, hence, I guess, the man lid. I don't know.
How many men could walk across from one another on the sidewalk wearing that hat without
Good
it
question.
falling off?
I don't know, but they did it. If you look back at all those photos, they did it. It's first of its kind that I tried wearing. Went all in on it, so I'm happy I did. It's a cool hat. It keeps me. The brim is so big when it rains.
It doesn't
It
pour.
does,
Fall
it does its job.
cascading around
Yeah,
your
it
face.
doesn't pour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel a very good first question, as we ask a lot of people, is how did you end up in the scenic city in good old Chattanooga?
Great question. So I came down after hearing our folks up in New York at VaynerMedia wanted to open up an office down in the Southeast. After spending 8 years living and working in New York City and experiencing my first year in the New York office at VaynerMedia, it was just time to go. My wife and I had our first son, Oliver, and yeah, I think I think time to go in New York City, and I think the opportunity to try something new and different in a place like Chattanooga just it fascinated us. So I think we kind of raised our hands when the question was asked up there about who wanted to come down and try it out. And I think we came down here for a weekend. Jess, you were part of that group.
Mm-hmm.
I think the group, we all just vibed together so well, and it felt right. And it's such a beautiful city. And, since then, as you all know, we've seen it kind of grow and become something even more. So that was kind of the genesis behind our move coming here.
Yeah.
Great.
So you started Godspeed Company before moving down to Chattanooga, right?
I did. 2012, as I recently have gone back and looked at my very first Instagram post, which is essentially where Godspeed came from. When I first hopped on the platform, I guess it was 2012. Instead of using my own personal name, I thought, why not make something cooler besides my own personal name? So Godspeed Co. at the time was randomly was the thing. I was super into motorcycles, and the notion, even the pure definition of Godspeed, was that also fascinated me. So it became what I thought was just a nice handle for the Instagram feed that at the time I was using to document a lot of the journeys that I was making on the back of my motorcycle. As well as just shooting and capturing photos of motorcycles on the streets in and around New York City and Brooklyn. So it all kind of made sense. 2012, I think, was the first time I snapped my very first photo on that platform. And since then, we just kind of grew it primarily just by using it.
How did that turn into an apparel brand?
It took time. It wasn't the intention when we first started it. As Godspeed Co., as the handle is called, as it started to just get some followings and some followers, rather, the more we were using and posting, it kind of just took on a life of its own. And the turn into becoming an actual company, because it was fictitious up until that point, came around the time that we kind of unearthed, at the time it was just me too, so I guess at the time that I'd unearthed this first idea to create a product that hadn't never been made before, and it's called the ShopWreck shirt, which is our flagship product. once I started kind of going down the path of trying to figure out how to make this shirt and then ultimately making it, that's when we officially became a company, because I mean we had something to actually sell. As short as that answer was, I think it took a good 5 years before that came about. Yeah.
Some, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what goes into making a shop rag shirt.
Whoa, a lot. 'Cause the reason is the challenge that we gave ourselves was to first and foremost understand what actually goes into making a shop rag, and that was certainly the inspiration behind it. Hence the name, the shop rag shirt. And the shop rag's quite. I mean, there's only really two things that make it up: the fabric and this little edge that goes around. That actually keeps the rag in its shape, and that edge is called many things: lock stitch, overlocking edge, keep stitch. It's also called a marrowed edge, which comes from the machine that actually makes it, called the marrow sewing machine. So it's the fabric and that particular stitch. And it has never been done before because no one has ever thought to use that particular stitch in a menswear shirt. That's not how you make a shirt. So part of the challenge was, in being true to the shop rag, was where can we actually introduce this edge into a classic menswear shirt design, and make a shirt that is durable, like true original shop rags are back in the 50s and 60s when they were made here in the States. Shop rags were 10 times as strong as what you see now, because a lot of the rags you find at some of the major chain stores are all manufactured overseas. So we wanted to be true to those old ones, and it would make a better shirt if it was much more durable. So we try to, I mean, that was our goal, was to stay true to the rag and make a shirt that we felt would get better with time, like actual shop rags do. And initially, we weren't paying as close attention to try to do it in the States. I think the first batch of shop rag material I got was off of, can I say the name of the website? I don't know.
E-commerce website.
Off of a massively large e-commerce site overseas, and it came from, I think, a particular country that manufactures a bunch of this stuff rather cheaply. And I got about 30 yards, and I was like, cool, I'll do it with this. But when I was looking at that material, I just realized, man, it's what you would find at some of these stores, right? It was so loose. I'm like, this will never ever withstand anything if we made it to a shirt. So then came the whole idea of like, well, let's do it like they used to make the old American shop rags, which were just incredibly well manufactured and durable. And that's when the idea to try to literally challenge the entire system of making something 1,000% on U.S. soil came about. And there's a reason why people don't do it. It's incredibly difficult. A lot of people will tell you, no, it can't be done. But the interesting part about it is, I mean, literally, as it took us years to do, but it wasn't that difficult. Does it cost a little bit more? Absolutely. But what we're primarily affected by is when we go to every single one of our factories, which we have gone to actually see where our shirt is made and all the different bits of it. We're talking buttons, thread, the fabric, where the fabric is dyed. We've been to every single one of these factories. And when you see those people who are there working on your product and making a living off of this, like that's when it really impacts you. And for us, that's where it became like, we have to do this here because it literally is making an impact in a lot of these different communities across the different states that we manufacture in, being North Carolina, here in Tennessee, and the historic city of Fall River, Massachusetts, where all of our stuff gets sent to be cut and sewn and ultimately made into the shirt that we sell now. So it didn't start off as an American-made thing, but the more deeper we got into it, the more that kind of became our way, was to just make this shirt, because it needed to be 100,000%. I would challenge anyone to find something that is actually more American-made than the shirt, but that's what it is.
So taking a step back, why shop rags? Of all the potential fabrics out there, like, what was it that started this interest or infatuation of, we're going to go make a shop rag shirt, and like going to the length that you just explained of going to the original version of shop rags?
Purely because of the fact that I ride motorcycles. That's where it actually started. Most people who ride or even wrench on cars, guys and girls, you can usually find a shop rag within an arm's reach. Typically, it's found in their back pocket. So I've always had one in my back pocket. I mean, it comes in handy, you know. It's like whenever I spill something, or if I'm working on a bike or something else, like you just take it out and wipe it. A handkerchief is almost the same thing too, except the shop rag is more absorbent than a handkerchief. And what's that? I'm getting some gestures from Jess. I'm trying to decipher what that means.
I wanted to know whether or not it was okay to ask about your book.
Oh, I'll get there because
It felt like a natural.
I've gotten super nerdy on shop rags, and I'll quickly get to that. But I always just carried a shop rag in my back pocket, and literally I still remember the day it happened. I was in New York City at a previous agency, and I spilled, I think it was coffee, on my desk, and I just took my rag out, wiped it up, and it was clean. And then I looked at the rag, and I was like, oh, this is, like, I wonder what the story is behind the shop rag. Because for sure, I mean, it's such an iconic thing, at least to me. It's like, you see it everywhere, in every single garage, under every car, construction sites. They're always around. And I just figured someone had documented like the shop rag story. And to my surprise, nothing had been written about it. And I was just so insanely shocked by that. And as a creative person in a field where we're essentially storytelling, I hopped right on it. 'Cause I'm like, this is a story that needs to be told. It, to me, speaks volumes about the blue-collar worker and hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, all that stuff. So that's when the idea, then I literally laid the rag over my wrist, and I was like, well, if this is such a durable rag, why not make a shirt out of it? Because ideally it would be a very incredible, hard-working shirt that gets better the more you use it. Because shop rags, usually, when you first get them, they're like, okay, whatever. But the more you use them, they soften up. They acquire patina based off of what you're using it on or cleaning up, and it just looks good over time. So all those things, like creating a new product plus an incredibly rich story, which I thought the rag represented. Like when you have those two things, that's when something can happen when it comes to like storytelling and trying to sell or get a message out around a product. From there, I started to really nerd out. My wife, at one point, surprised me with a vintage shop rag that she found on one of those like websites that people, again, was it eBay type of thing. And I didn't realize that shop rags, like old, cool-looking shop rags, were still out there. I thought they were gone. Much to my surprise, you can find a lot of them online. And she got me one, and it was like an old tractor company from like the 50s. And the rag was gorgeous. And again, very durable. The edge was still intact. And it literally became like, as a kid, I collected baseball cards. Now I collect shop rags. It's weird because they're also incredibly different. Colors faded. I mean, they acquire great patina. And most interesting is on a lot of these rags are graphics and designs. Being a designer by trade, I geek out over that, but you're seeing all these old images and type treatments and fonts and just a lot of designs that people are kind of ripping off now, creating new products, still intact on these rags. And the idea to then go and collect as many of these as possible, the old actual American ones, and make a book out of it kind of became, it's currently the project I'm working on now. It's just a kind of coffee table book that documents the look of each of these rags. And then we're going to go a step further and actually try to get some information on the companies that are featured on these rags to figure out where they are, because about 99% of them are no longer here. And that speaks to a little bit of kind of that dark period in the 70s when manufacturing went overseas and just wiped out a bunch of these companies that are no longer around that are featured on these rags. So there's some interesting, again, storytelling around that I think would make for a compelling visual coffee table book. So that's, to answer your question, that's what we're working on.
I wasn't sure if it was confidential or if it
No,
was public
shoot, let's talk
knowledge or
about it.
anything like that.
Yeah.
So should we be
that's
expecting
great.
a documentary sometime soon?
Yeah, and I'm assuming, we'll film it. Landon, if you're not doing anything, we'll bring you in, our videographer guy. But yeah, so a lot of things, but again, it all starts around the shop rag. And again, I think we've taken it upon ourselves. So like, all right, if no one's told the story, it deserves to be told. We're going to do it.
So being our creator today, what inspires you creatively? Like if there was one or two things that you had to identify that are not constant inspirations, but like, ever so often, like seeing a good movie or reading a good book that just like sparks something in you.
I've been asked this question before, and it's such a hard one because on some level, I'm just wired that way. I think most creatives are. Jess, looking at you, I'm sure you probably you would respond in a similar fashion. But if you look at my family tree, there's like the lineage of artists. Like my mom was she was into art. My brother's actually a better illustrator, drawer than I am. He just decided to go a different route. So it's kind of always been a thing. I grew up like always just sketching and coloring, like most kids. I just loved it. So again, I to answer your question, it's always kind of been there. In terms of inspiration, I mean, it can come from everywhere. But what I find most that helps me along to be more creative is constantly putting myself in situations that I'm exposing myself to different things that I wouldn't usually have done before, right? Back in the day when I was listening to a certain type of music, friends of mine turned me on to different sorts. And I was like, oh man, like this is really cool music. Let me give it a chance. So I started listening to different types, and that was inspiring. Going to see different like movies that I'm not initially drawn to, just to see what it's about, like that's inspiring. So it's not one particular thing. I think it's certainly a combination of what internally is inside me, like the DNA, how I'm wired, paired with, I think, everyday occurrences where I'm exposed to new things and allowing myself to be exposed by putting myself either in uncomfortable positions or just in places where I'm just going to meet new people, hear new things, have different type of conversations, because that's when ideation kind of starts swirling around in the old noggin.
All right, I think we only have a couple minutes, so do you have any last wonderful words of wisdom to impart upon our audience today?
Sure. I would say if we're talking, specifically about making your own thing and doing your own thing, looking back on how, we started Godspeed and went down this ridiculous path of creating a product, I think my message to anyone in a similar position trying to figure out how to start their thing literally is to don't waste time. Do it now. Like anything you can do, make a phone call, send an email. It literally is that easy. As difficult as it was to make a shirt like what I'm wearing now, it actually wasn't that difficult. It literally started, I kid you not, with a phone call or meeting someone at a bar saying, hey, I have an idea. Can you help me with this? Because I know you're good at making a shirt, perhaps. Those little things have a way of snowballing themselves into real, true momentum. So as little as they may seem, they're actually quite helpful. So I would encourage anyone, if you have that idea in your head, you need to execute it and execute it now and do it quickly. And again, just make the phone call.
Awesome. So I know for every episode we like to end off with a tradition that we've taken from our office specifically of the hand.
Oh, we're doing it.
Yeah. So we want you to share with this lovely audience who has just gotten to know you of what are the 5 condiments that you would have?
Interesting. And I completely forgot my answer to this was when I first came down here a little over 2 years ago. So this is kind of nice. I kind of refreshed because things have changed, I would say. And are we being judgmental now too on what's a condiment and what's not? Because I know
this is a free space. You are safe.
Okay. That being
We
said,
just want you to be the best version of yourself.
But that doesn't mean that people can not judge you later on. Just saying.
Okay. Well, in brand specific, how are we doing on that? Can we lay that down? I mean, that's just because that.
Let's go for it.
All right. I'll set it up. In a way where maybe we can edit if we have to. So certainly ketchup. And if
Which direction are we going from?
Oh man, I'm probably point a finger because it feels like it's there. There's a certain brand of ketchup called Sir Kensington, which is phenomenal. So I would say my finger, it would be ketchup, of course. Second, probably thumb, because thumb feels quite important too. And this is where we get in a little bit of debate, but I'm going to say peanut butter.
What kind of peanut butter?
It's pronounced Jif.
Sure, the peanut butter is, but we can talk about that later.
And
creamy or crunchy?
It usually is creamy, but occasionally I will throw in the crunch. Years ago, they also made a peanut butter honey version, which was, I don't know, I think they took off the shelf. So that's 2. Ooh, man. I'm recalling an earlier answer that I made 2 years ago, and it was pepperoni, which kind of raised some eyebrows. Because is it a condiment? Does it come out of a bottle? Not necessarily. But you can layer it onto something, which makes it a topping, which is close to a condiment.
I think that's fair. What finger
Acceptable.
is it coming out? Is that your bird?
I think it's what's the ring finger?
Oh, it's your ring finger?
Ring finger.
Okay.
So I'm missing the middle finger and the pinky, right?
Yes.
got me doing weird things right now.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying.
Because I like it in small amounts. It's where it's most powerful. For the pinky, I'm designating that for Old Bay spice. I mean, that's just, yeah. For those who know Old Bay, you're welcome. And for those who don't, get on it. We're left with the middle finger.
Sounds like a mixtape, but
I know. Man, I hate going to like the mayonnaise, but
Don't hate on mayonnaise.
I'll reserve.
Yeah.
I'll reserve the mayonnaise. I could also go teriyaki sauce. You know what? I'll call it with teriyaki sauce.
all right.
I think there's like a Kikkoman's teriyaki sauce.
Are we locking and loading? Are we laminating this?
We are laminating.
Laminated.
Laminated.
Done.
Dude,
Chris,
feels good.
we appreciate you being with us today.
Yeah, thank you. You guys are beautiful people. You know that?
You're beautiful
Thank you.
too.
I like you guys.
Yeah.
Continue being creative.
I really
and
enjoyed
continue
this
inspiring.
opportunity to look at your face more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you guys for the time and attention. And for those listening, if you have any questions about what we're doing at Godspeed or anything else, hit us up on the gram at Godspeed Co. Facebook's /Godspeed Co. We're out there. Literally Google it or just Google Shop Rag Shirt. You'll find us. Usually when you send any message on either of those platforms, it goes directly to me. So let's start some conversations.
Yeah. Just
Boom.
make the phone call.
Make the phone call.
There you go.
Or
Send
the
a DM.
email.
There it is.
Slide into them DMs.
There it is.
And we out. Next up, we have Desirae Smith.
Desirae is one of our copywriters here in the Chattanooga office, but she also has some major side hustle going on with originally her blog, the Tennessee Rose blog, as well as her Instagram account. You can find her there at desirae.danielle. And we're going to talk to her about all kinds of things today, right?
Yeah.
And for those that cannot see Des, she is rocking it today from head to toe, so y'all are missing out.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Please go ahead and describe your outfit.
Yeah, and follow me on Instagram for sure. Then you can see all my outfits all the time.
You'll be grateful. So tell us, what are you wearing today?
Yeah.
I am wearing a completely full tulle skirt with about 7 layers of tulle, 2 layers of cotton, combined with a jersey knit long sleeve black top, and really cheapo black ballet shoes.
Nice. What so working with you, what inspires your outfits each day? Is it like a mood thing, or is it like, this is what I'm doing today and I'm rocking it?
Well, I'm super into all the vintage stuff, you know? So basically, I mean, a lot of times it's like if I just watched a movie the night before, I'm like, ooh, I like that. I wonder if I can like do something inspired by one of those characters. Or something I saw on the internet. Or sometimes I just wake up and I'm like, okay, why don't I just put this because I'm lazy? Maybe I'll wear a dress because I just want to wear one piece. I want more airflow, stuff like that.
I have to say, most days these days, I feel pretty good about what I'm wearing when I get to the office, unless I'm having a really off day. But you put us to shame every single day.
Oh, sorry.
That's like a complete sorry, not sorry moment.
But
Apologize
today
for
is
that.
like extra because we're gonna go to a dinner tonight. So
Yeah, we're getting fancy
You
tonight.
looking real nice.
thanks.
So tell us about your blog and how you got started, and now especially like heavy Instagram side hustle.
So I had literally just always followed a couple of fashion bloggers like Keiko Lynn and Bonnie Barton, and I was really, just obsessed with looking at their posts every day. That's what I would literally get on the internet and like go to their website every day to see if they'd posted anything new. And I was like, oh man, I wonder if I could do this. At the time, I thought I was gonna like have a fashion line, all this stuff. So I was super obsessed with them. Then I was like, wonder if I can make that happen for myself. So asked for a camera for Christmas, started taking photos of myself and putting them on my blog on the internet, and then just transferring all of that to Instagram. It's like the process has sort of changed a little bit now, but that's how it started, was just being a high school, college kid looking at them and being like, they're so pretty. They have such cute clothes. I want to do this.
So what would your fashion line have been named, or still could be named?
Well, I did have it. I did make it after college, and it failed. But it was called Desirae Danielle. That's my first and middle name, so that's really original.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Listen, all the iconic people out there, it's their name.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are your own brand. That's kind of the best way to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? Retract that. Start again. So what happened to the fashion passion there? You said you started it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what was that journey like, and how has it like impacted what you're doing now? 'Cause
Yeah.
you're still within the fashion realm.
I mean, I've always been just like a creative person, and that creativity always came out partially through outfits, partially through photography, whether it was like Polaroids and then just like getting ready for school. And so I just started, putting that online myself and trying to tell my own stories of the day or the outfit or whatever. And so I kept doing that. And even though I started the fashion line, I thought that's where I wanted my life to go, but it turns out it wasn't. I wanted to go more full-time into the blogging and eventually just really Instagram is the main thing these days. I mean, I know that I still keep up with the blog, but I feel like for the most part, we're all just getting our, source of news and the things that we look at every day through Instagram. People are like, oh, okay, I saw the outfit on the one photo, so do I really need to leave the app and go to the internet? So now I kind of just intentionally create for Instagram a lot of times because it's my favorite now, I guess.
And what is your goal with continuing on with the Instagram account? Is it with the end game of someday building that fashion line? Is it with, becoming more of an influencer and creating brand partnerships? What is your hope for the future for Desirae.Danielle?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty done with the whole fashion line thing. That was what I just always had in my head is what I wanted to do because it was really one of the only ways I knew how to express my creativity. But now I think I've really found new alternatives and found other things that I'm much better at than that or feel more fulfilled from. So yeah, and I mean, I do my Instagram because I love it and it's just a good outlet for me. So ultimately the goal will always just be have fun and get my emotions out through it or whatever. I do have some brand partnerships, have had some and have some upcoming. I would totally love to get more, but I don't want it's not all about that. I mean, cool if I could get a whole ton of them, I'd be super stoked, but I don't want to go into it being just about that because I've made a lot of good friends on Instagram, so I really like it being about connection and expression and all of that.
So for anyone who does follow Desirae on Instagram, you may have noticed that she has a really interesting way of writing each of her posts, and it's that each is framed as if it's from a screenplay or script for a film. So can you tell us a little bit about how that started and why you continue to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really in love with movies, and I've always thought about my blog posts and my Instagram posts as scenes from a movie and the girl inside of them being characters. So a lot of times I would get dressed, dressing myself or dressing her as a character, as if I was doing costume design or costume styling or whatever. And so I just started writing the slug lines as sort of a way to set the scene a little more and sort of get that through. So it's like, oh, sure, this is me, but this is me in a story. There's more to it. I wanted to evoke more feeling. And then I've kept doing that because I like setting that mood. And I want to write a screenplay. I've been working on screenplays, so just both.
So why the vintage angle?
That is just who I am as a human being. I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons and a lot of the popular things when I was little, so I had to watch TV Land. It was one of the few things approved by my mother. And so I just always watched all those old shows like I Dream of Jeannie and The Brady Bunch and, Green Acres. So I grew up on those, so I think I just acquired a taste and style based off of, those characters. And, I mean, classic films are still some of my favorite ones today, so I think it really made an impression on me when I was young, and now I associate that with, cool.
So do you feel that you have been born in the wrong time zone, in the wrong era?
Yeah, I mean, if I could take women's rights back to the 60s with me, that'd be cool. And, obviously, No segregation. I wouldn't want any of that happening back in the 60s either. I'm really nostalgic for that era, even though I've never lived through it, but I also acknowledge the horrible, horrible things about it, and I hate that. And if we could have that same magical feeling that I imagine, I get from Mad Men or from Populaire, like all those 60s inspired movies, if we could have that feeling in the world today, but without all the horrible things, that'd be dope.
What is that feeling to you?
Oh, I guess truly nostalgia is the best way I feel like to describe it. I don't know. It's like when you just watch a movie and it just feels it's just like romantical. It just seems whimsical. Everything just seems, I don't even know what that feeling is when I watch like a Lana Del Rey music video or an episode of Mad Men. It's just like I get this feeling. I feel like that's a feeling of fitting in, connecting.
So where do you see yourself going, or where do you desire for yourself to go, especially within this realm of fashion and with what the content that you're putting out there?
Well, kind of as we said earlier, I hope to just like keep growing with it. Hopefully inspiring some people to just sort of wear what they want, because there really is a thing. I get a lot of looks sometimes, especially when I'm in like some of my most vintage outfits. I've definitely been asked literally once a week probably about where am I going, what 50s event am I attending, what character thing, what dance or sock hop do people not know about. And I'm like, oh no, dudes, this is just me.
You're just going to work.
Yeah, so I want people to be able to wear what they want and not feel like nervous about it, or even if they do, be like, whatever, this is just what I want to wear. I don't care. I'm going to do it. It makes me feel happy and express who I am. So that, and then obviously I just want to keep growing and just keep doing it, keep putting content out and enjoying it.
So if there had to be to that point of wanting people to have more confidence into like wear what they want to wear and owning it, if you had to give 3 tips, like give us fashion tips, like we are your subjects.
Fix us.
When you pick out that thing when you're shopping, or you see a photo, whatever, on Pinterest, and you're like, wow, that's cute, I wish I could wear that. Actually just like wear it. Like, cause like, why can't you, So, and don't listen to those freaking articles that are all like, here's this and this for your body type. Just like whatever makes you happy. Who says because of your body has a certain shape that you're not allowed to wear something that like would bring you joy? And lastly, I get really like, what is this thing about different occasions have different attire? I've always kind of thought, like whenever people send out wedding invitations, or maybe not wedding, but like, whatever, some kind of occasion invitation, they're like, oh, the dress code is, or the attire is. I've just always just been sort of like, I don't care. I've been breaking dress code since 7th grade. I'm going to wear whatever I want to wear. I'm sorry if it makes you unhappy, or if I show up looking like the weirdo. You maybe shouldn't have invited me.
If you haven't yet, you should trademark that tagline right there.
Yeah, we'll do
And
that.
everyone should definitely invite you.
I'm going to do
Always.
that for the rest of the day. Just kidding.
So, it's escaping me. Hold on, it's gonna come back. Oh, how does a person find their style? So you found that you fell in love with the vintage aspect and building that confidence. How does someone else find like what works for them? Of like maybe they are more clean cut of like minimal, or
Yeah.
they are like they love color and they want to pop. How do they figure that out for themselves?
I feel like it really is whenever you're on Tumblr or you're on Instagram, or just when people, they look towards certain celebrities because of their aesthetic and their style. And it's like, okay, if you keep gravitating towards the same people, I wonder if maybe you like those types of things, so you should try to incorporate some of it. Or, just wearing the things that you... No, I mean, I get most of my inspiration from like magazines, the internet. So really, I guess if you just see something on there that you're gravitating towards it on multiple different occasions, that might be for you.
Do you offer styling? Like if I take you to the store with me, will you style me?
Yeah, man, I love shopping.
Boom, done. Got weekend plans now.
Oh, I need to take you up on that too.
Yeah.
Is it time for the question?
Oh, I didn't know if there was another question, anything else that you wanted to ask before we get to the
I
question.
know a lot about Desirae.
Okay.
I mean, we do have the option of like going on a complete tangent about Ryan Gosling, but
I welcome that. What's this look she's giving us?
oh, I don't know what the look is.
They don't want me to talk about the sexiness of Ryan Gosling.
I think they do. I think Henley gave a thumbs up on that
Ooh,
one.
to Jess's two-part question, Jess's point of speaking about Ryan, who's your arm candy? Like, if you had to
Oh,
set
yeah.
that up of like going with your fashion style and vintage, like, who do you like feel if there's a name or if, like a description of like, boom, head to toe, this is homie G.
Oh, like a real person?
Or a fake person.
Or a fake
Or a
person.
fake
We accept
person.
them all.
Okay. I mean, I feel like Ryan Gosling is a really good example. 'Cause I've always gravitated towards him because he feels so old Hollywood to me. Like, living in the current day, he's just so, like, kind of classic. I'm like, oh, yeah, Ryan is so sweet and cute. And then put together. He feels like Cary Grant or something to me back in the day. So, I mean, I would totally go anywhere he wanted me to go. I would put him on my arm if he wanted to just go to Walmart. Like, I don't care. That would be awesome.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining Ryan.
Me and Ryan at Walmart. Like, what are we buying today? Ooh, they have a wine aisle now. You can get some $5 champagne.
Make
Take
some
him to
pasta.
cook out for dinner.
Cook out for Waffle House.
Oh, Waffle
Definitely
House.
Waffle House.
Mhm. Yeah. That's your place.
Yeah.
So, what would be, I know you've stated some things already, but if you had to summarize everything, what would be a challenge you would place to everyone today on moving forward and to, especially when it comes to fashion or confidence?
Yeah. First of all, females should be wearing whatever they want to wear. However, whatever makes them feel comfortable, whatever makes them feel confident, they should not have to listen to anything that anybody else, males, have to say about it. You know, if you want to be cute, be cute. If you want to be girly, be girly. If you want to be totally streetwear and like athleisure, go for it. If you want to mix men and women's outfits, do it. Whatever. If you would, however, whatever you want to wear, just let it be you and not worry what you're going to get called or what someone's going to say or this or that. Challenge. Maybe also cool to think about some slow fashion stuff. Like, I'm really into vintage fashion and, you know, you go to the thrift store, anything that's just made like, you know, either recycled ethically or has previously been worn by people is a cool challenge to set for yourself. It doesn't always have to be right off the rack or certainly not off the runway. I don't know anybody who can afford to wear that.
Technically, if it's been on the runway, it's been used.
Oh, that's true. That's true. If you can fit into the sample size, then okay, sure.
Awesome. So let Jess take it away to,
Is it time?
it's time.
All right.
The time has
Going
come.
back to our traditional question, Desirae, if you could have 5 condiments come out of your 5 fingers on the hand of your choosing, what would those condiments be and what fingers would they come out of?
Okay, I think the first one should be like my pointer finger, vinaigrette. I love vinaigrette on anything. Like,
What kind of vinaigrette?
ooh,
Like a balsamic?
Yeah.
Or red wine? Or
I
like
do
a apple
like.
cider?
I love red wine. I love all kinds of vinaigrette. I think I just love vinegar. Drink freaking vinegar. But
You were that kid in my
Yeah.
class drinking vinegar.
for sure, drinking vinegar, man. But I'm gonna go with balsamic vinegar because it's the most like put it on I think like pasta, salad, sandwiches, all of that. Thumb. I'm gonna mess up this pronunciation probably, but tahine, Tagin. Jin. It's in the section in the grocery stores that is
International.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's from Mexico. It's a Spanish spice. It's like lime spice. I don't know. It's so good. I put that on popcorn with lime, which I did learn from a Hispanic person on Twitter, and it was super cool. It's like, tastes so good. Like, you got to try that. I also put it on fish. I love it. Okay, middle finger, ketchup. I need ketchup on every single French fry I eat.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
French fries.
French fries. I need Cajun spice. What's a Cajun?
Tony's.
Yes, I need that Cajun spice.
Mickey would kill me if I didn't bring it up when you asked about Cajun seasoning.
Okay, and I really need salt, Is that a condiment? Salt.
Get it?
Am I choosing all spices?
Any type of like specific salt, sea salt, Himalayan salt.
Oh, that pink salt's cute. Himalayan salt. Or sprinkles. Maybe or like margarita. Have you ever had a margarita that has like these glitter, like margarita glitter rim? I don't know if we could get that. Sugar rim with
It's your
glitter.
finger.
Okay.
It's your life.
What are we on? My pinky?
I think
that's the last one.
I think that was the last one. Yeah.
No, one more. Yeah. Wait, so tagine, vinaigrette, ketchup, what is she? Salt,
Salt.
and one more.
And I feel like I need something sweet too. I really love caramel sauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, caramel sauce.
Question: always warm or like?
Hot.
All right. Piping hot. All
Pull
right.
it out of that boiling water, like at the.
And pour it on.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So, are we committing to this?
I am fully committed.
Laminate
Unlike
it.
all my relationships.
Oh, and on that note, we're done.
Ooh.
Well,
Nougat out.
yeah. Des, we appreciate you being with us today, and we thank everyone for joining us and listening in. As always, stay cool, stay positive, pound empathy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're asking me to say something?
Yes.
I think Maurice covered all of the positivity. I'm just happy to be here.
All right, awesome. This has been another episode of Made in Chattanooga, episode 5.
Do we get to sing the song out?
Why not?
Made in Chattanooga.